All right. Well, today I wanted to talk about the time a woman lost attraction for me due to my balding head. I started balding at around 19 to 20 years old. Within a few years, I had gone from a pretty full head of hair around a Norwood 1 to around a Norwood 4 with a massively receding hairline. I had shaved my head completely in the summer of 2013, but I had gotten my first hair transplant in the summer of 2014, and this helped to restore my hairline, but I still had some pretty low density in the frontal zones. So I had to wear my hair in a way where I combed it forward and used a lot of Topic to cover up the gaps in between the hairs. I had done this for about 2.5 years, and honestly I was still pretty insecure about this. It didn't affect me as much when I had a massively receding hairline, but it still impacted me and was always in the back of my head. I would get insecure if a girl ever touched my hair. Like, Topic is a godsend if you guys have used this. And it really creates the illusion of having a full head of hair when you apply it to your hairs. But if someone starts running their fingers through your hair, they'll be able to notice that you're balding because some of the chunks of the Topic will come out and they'll be able to see it on their fingers. So in early 2017, I decided to get a second hair transplant to fill in the gaps in between the grafts from the first hair transplant for more density and more styleability. And honestly, just for my mental health, like I was just super insecure about my hair loss back then, and it was just affecting me on a day-to-day basis. To keep it a buck, I was still just very insecure about my hair, and this is the main reason for getting it done. So I had a consultation with another hair transplant doctor and was able to book an FUE surgery after saving up, which is follicular unit extraction, for 2,000 grafts in the frontal zones, with the goal of achieving more density. So I had arrived a day early and decided to stop by the doctor's office to meet the doctor, and I wore a Topic that day. We had a video consultation about a week and a half prior where I showed him the gaps without Topic in, and I sent him pictures. So we had discussed what our game plan was to achieve more density and kind of pack in those grafts where there were a lot of gaps in the hairline, where it was really thin looking. So when I arrived at his office, I was sitting in this room while the doctor finished up with another patient. I think he was with another patient, or I don't know exactly what he was doing. And there was like a hair transplant, like one of those, like a tech worker who said to me, like, "Oh, are you waiting for the doctor?" I had replied that I was, and I asked her, how's your day going? And she said that her day was going really well, and asked where I was coming from. And we started talking about the area, and I could tell that she had some attraction towards me. She even made the comment like, "Oh, you don't look like you have any hair loss." And it was funny because like with Topic, like Topic can really create the illusion that you really do have a full head of hair. And I would just comb the hair forward so it kind of like, it was like halfway down my forehead. So it really made the illusion that I had like a pretty thick head of hair, and I would kind of grow it out to like medium to long length. So I kind of had like a little bit of like a half surfer look going on. And she was around my age at the time, and when we got into chatting about the local bar scene in the area, and she had asked how long I was there for. I let her know that I was leaving the day after tomorrow, and she had said, she was like, "Oh, if you weren't getting a surgery, like we could have grabbed a drink." So there was really like genuine attraction just from her body language, eye contact, her pupils dilating, like she was touching her hair. I mean, you can tell it's pretty easy, especially, you can tell when a girl's attracted to you. And I'd gotten her Instagram, and the doctor had then gotten done with his other patient, and he came in the room, and she left the room, and we had talked about the plan for the next day. And the doctor had told me to come in the next day. He told me to come in with no Topic or any product in. When he said this, I was thinking, oh man, like I said, for those of you who use Topic or Heratin or like any sort of like fiber powder, it really does give the illusion of having a thick head of hair, as long as you have like a little bit of hair in a zone. So I knew that my hair was going to look pretty thin. And, I was thinking like, oh, this girl that's attracted to me, she's going to see my like balding head. And that was kind of like, an insecurity of mine. The next day when I come in, I sit down in the same room to get ready for surgery. And the girl from the day before walks in the room, smiles when she first sees me, and then it was just kind of weird. But when she saw my head, when she was a couple feet away, like I said, I had no topic in my hair. So my hair looked super thin. Like I said, there were a ton of gaps in between the grafts from the first surgery. And I naturally have like more of a thinner hair type. So when she saw me, like I could just tell that she lost attraction for me. She just lost that physical attraction. She didn't look at me with the same level of interest as she had the day before. You know, her pupils weren't dilated. She wasn't touching her hair. Like, you know, she was kind of like pointed away from me. It was just kind of crazy, but I saw this happen. Like the glow in her eyes just went away, and I just saw this happen within a span of like 3 seconds. Like when she first opened the door, when she was, I don't know, probably 10 feet away, you know, she smiled. And then when she was walking towards me and she saw my balding head, all attraction went away. Like I saw it in real time. I experienced it, and it was brutal. Like, and, you know, looking back, I could see if the girl worked in like hair transplant sales, maybe like the flirting the day before might have been kind of manufactured, but it wasn't. Like it was real genuine attraction. And it was kind of crazy at the end of the day. And it was just crazy. Like, you know, the day before, like I said, her pupils were dilated. She was touching her hair, smiling, and even suggested like grabbing a drink if there was more time. And I think a part of it was that the crown was also thin. It wasn't really too bad, but I have dark hair. So the contrast between the frontal zones that were very thin and my crown was also thin. And the middle zone of my hair was like pretty thick. So like all around, like without topic, I looked like a balding mess, and it just wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty in the slightest. And there was a few other female techs as well that were there. And when I was sitting there waiting for the doctor, there was just very little conversation. It was just a lot of waiting around until the doctor got there. When I was waiting there for the doctor in that room, it was mostly silence. Like it was tough. Like I'd been hiding under topic for the past 2.5 years, and no one had ever seen me without it. Like if I would stay the night at a girl's place or a girl would stay over mine, like I would always make sure to not wash my hair until she was gone. So sitting there for even that hour felt brutal to me. My hair was a massive insecurity at the time that I was trying to fix. And I don't know, sitting in that room waiting for the doctor with them not saying anything, my balding head was exposed. It felt relieving once the doctor arrived and they sedated me, knowing that like once I woke up, I would have, 2,000 more grafts and not have to feel that insecurity more because I'd have more hair. Looking back, my hair loss consumed so much of my mental space back then. Hair loss lived in my head rent-free for such a long time, from like 2012 to 2017. Yeah, it was just brutal. And, once the new hair started growing in, about 4 to 6 months later, my insecurity about my hair loss definitely got better. It wasn't always in my head as much. And at my second hair transplant, the doctor really made it a point to try to build in as much density in the frontal hairline and pack in as much density as he could in that like frontal inch. So, I was able to style my hair a lot better. Once my hair grown in, I didn't have to have that like combed over like surfer look. Just wanted to, talk about this experience, and it's still, hair loss is still a slight insecurity of mine, but when I decided to fix it by getting the second hair transplant done, definitely made a massive difference for my mental health. Well, if you've enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like, feel free to comment down below, and feel free to subscribe. Until next time, take care.